this is Claudette. Welcome back. I am stopping by to show you how, or to walk you through how I build a scene using Photoshop. I'm not sure how many of you have Photoshop. You may have Photoshop Elements, which would work the same way. Your display will probably look different than mine, but the actual steps would probably be very similar because it's a layered base software. And yeah, the difference between the two is there's more advanced features that Photoshop has. Elements is a very, very good photo editing software as well, but you could do more things manually in Photoshop, whereas in Elements everything is preset and it's a quicker, faster way to use a Photoshop or a photo editing software. So if you don't have either one and you've been thinking about it, I would definitely think about getting Elements. It's cheaper and it has already preset stuff that you can use where you don't have to manually go in and manipulate or blend certain things, or it's just a faster, better, user-friendly, beginner photo editing software for everyone. And it like I said, it's faster, whereas Photoshop is a more detailed software where you do everything manually, step by step. It takes longer, but the results are so phenomenal that if you want to go further into a photo editing software, Photoshop would be the one. But Elements would work perfectly fine with building a scene using the Greeting Farm digital stamps. Today I'm going to be using a couple of different stamps from digital stamps from the Greeting Farm. So I will be using the Build a Living Room and Hello from Home, and just a few others that I have from the Greeting Farm. I will link them all in the description box down below. So I'm going to try and do a quick tutorial for you, and if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below and I will answer them when I get the chance. And hopefully they're not too complicated. I'm pretty good at Photoshop, but you know, there might be some things I just don't know. And keep in mind, there's so many different ways to do what I'm doing, because it's just not one way and it works just that one way. There are so many different ways you could achieve what I do. So if you already know how to use Photoshop, it may be different from how you do it, but this is geared towards those who have not used Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. This will help you get an idea of how to use Photoshop to build your scenes using digital stamps. So I hope this video will help you in that aspect. So I just wanted to show you, this is a scene I put together earlier. Here's another one. So Photoshop and Photoshop Elements, and I do believe a lot of photo editing softwares do use the layer-based system. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's basically each element. When you click on it here on Photoshop, you can see on the right here, it will pick that particular element, and so each layer is a different element, and think of it as stacking. And so you want the layer in the background to be on the lower layer, because you don't want it in front of the couch. Clearly the coffee table is in front of the couch, so you want that layer to be above it. So when I do it, I don't name my layers, but I think as a beginner, maybe it would help you name each layer, and I'll do that when I do the walkthrough. And then you can see how I'll show you how to move the elements around to get it to what you're liking, and show you how the layers work. So, and just a few tools in Photoshop. So this is not going to be an in-depth tutorial on how to use Photoshop, but it is a walkthrough of how to build a simple scene using Photoshop. And again, this will also be very similar to Photoshop Elements as well, okay? So I'm going to start a new canvas or layout. So I'm going to go to File, New. Now, I'm not quite sure how the display or the how elements look when you do all this, but it's pretty simple. When you do new, it might it will probably prompt you up with a screen saying what size you want it and whatnot. I'm going to do a 6 by 4 inch card because I'm going to put this in my Project Life album. And then I'm going to set it at 300 DPI, so make sure you set it at 300 because anything below that is not good print quality. So just do 300. And then I don't think you can select your color mode in Elements. I think that's the difference between Photoshop and Elements. So just have it at whatever it's set at. And I don't know if you could do the background. You probably can do the background. If you can, do white or transparent, but just that, unless you want to have like a pink background, and you could do a custom, but I usually just stick with, for it to be more simplified, let's just stick with white or transparent. So because really what you're doing is putting the scene together, and then you're going to print it out and then color it. So you don't want to add color unless you want to color it digitally, but that's just a whole nother tutorial on that. But we're just going to do it for the purpose of putting a scene together and printing it out and then coloring it using Copics or color pencil, whatever you guys use. So that's what this walkthrough is going to be. So, okay, so here is my layout. And I apologize, my dog is probably going to bark. All right, so this is your blank canvas. And remember, I chose transparent, so you'll see some checkered in the back that's saying that it's transparent. Okay, and I'm going to use, and what you should use is the move tool, which is this one right here. You could click on this little right there. You don't have to click on it, you just hover over it. It's the move tool. It's the cross with some arrows on each tip. Okay, so you could click on the move tool, and then we want to open up our files to use onto our layout. So you want to go open and look for your where you've saved your files. So if you're going to be using the Build a Living Room, look for that file where you saved it. So I am going to do this because I made it easier for me. Okay, so I am going to start off with, these are the files I want to use. I've already saved all these in a folder, so I won't be like looking for them while I'm doing this tutorial. I want to start off with the plant because I want that in the background. So when I open it up, my screen shows or opens it up in another tab on my workspace. So I think in Elements you have it down here, a strip down here, and all your pictures will open up down in the strip, which is perfect. And I wish Photoshop has it. I'm not even quite sure if they have it or not. I just never bother to look through my settings. I'm just so used to how Photoshop works. It would be faster and simple for me to use if we had the strip. So for you guys who have Elements, it will be down here. I believe it will open up down here somewhere. And you could just drag it onto your canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the element, drag it over here, and then just drag it onto my canvas. Put it right there. I'm going to close this one. Then I'm going to go back up to File and open my next element, and I think I want to put the couch in next. So go ahead, put the couch. Oh, actually, I saved the wrong couch. Let me open this couch because I need a bigger couch for the two of Anya and Ian. So, okay, I went ahead and opened it. It's in front. Okay, here's one thing I forgot to do. I told you I was going to rename these so that you guys won't get confused with my layers. And then this one is the couch. So I would say do that the first few times you use Photoshop because you know, you don't want to be confused to which layer it is. I'm not sure if Elements you could click it and it will select it here or not. See, when I'm clicking each one, it will select that layer. I'm not sure if that's how Photoshop Elements works, but I'm 95% it might. I could be wrong. Leave me in the comment section down below if it does so that others who use Elements will know. All right, so I have the plant, the couch. Let's add some more elements. I want, oh, I forgot. Oh, the east side table. So, okay, what you see here is Adobe Bridge, and I know for sure it comes with Photoshop. I'm not for sure it comes with Elements. So that's why I'm not really showing you, but since I forgot to add in a few elements into my already pre-saved file folder, I have to go into that. So that's what Elements or Photoshop looks like. We have a software that's called Bridge where we could just easily see what we have and then open it up. That's how we open up our files. So yours may be different. So all you do is, once again, just go to File, and then Open. All right, so let's name this side table. And you see how it's in front of my couch? I don't want it to be in front of my armrest, so I'm going to take the side table. So this is how we're going to rearrange the layers. So I'm going to click on the side table, hold it, and bring it down to where you want it to be behind. I want it to be behind the couch, so do that and let go once you are underneath the couch layer and that blue line comes up. Do you see double blue line? Like that. I hope that's the double blue line is the same as in Elements. If not, you just hold it down until you're underneath that layer and then let it go. So now it's behind the couch, it's behind the armrest. Let's see. Okay, let's do something like that. I mean, you could have it like that, but I like it like that, maybe. Okay. And then let's open up another one. So we're going to go to Open, and then let's do the rug. Now, before I go any further, if you look down here, you're going to see that it's the side table is selected. So when I open the next file and then I drag it to my layout, it's going to be behind the couch since it's underneath that layer. So if my couch layer was selected, it would be in front of my couch. Since I'm opening up a rug, it will be perfectly fine where it's going to be because I want it underneath my couch because it's going to be the couch is going to lay on top of the rug. So keep that in mind when you do that. But remember, you could rearrange the layers by dragging and dropping it into the correct spot. I hope that was clear. And once again, if it's not clear, just go ahead and leave me a comment down below and I will show you, I will answer whatever questions or concerns you guys have or issues. So, okay, I'm here now. I'm going to drag it here. And because it was on the layer below, or the side table was already selected, the next layer you put will be on top of whatever layer is selected. So it was put on top of my side table layer and it was underneath the couch. So now it worked perfectly because I want it to go under my couch. So if I had it selected, if I had my couch selected, it would go above my couch. So look, you don't want it above your couch, right? So you want to make sure it's going to be under your couch, and you just drag and drop. If you have your couch selected and it falls on top of it, it's just basically rearranging it in the layer section. So that, I'm going to resize this in a bit. I just want to open up all my elements and have them all in one, and then resize all together. And you could resize individually, and I'll show you that as well. But right now, I'm going to do it this way. So I selected my coffee table, hit open, to pull that out, and then drag it right there. So clearly my rug was selected, so it went underneath my couch and on top of my rug, which is perfect because you want it on top of your rug, but you want it in front of your couch. So once again, you want to drag this layer on top of the couch layer. So this is coffee table. And remember how to, I don't know if I mentioned how to rename it. It's just you double click the word. So like layer, I'm going to say background. Double click, type, and then hit return. All right, so we are at the coffee table now, and I want that in front of the couch, so I'm pulling it up in front of the couch, and there you go. So let me just do a few more. Let's do a lamp, and same thing, pull it out and drag it. And again, for you guys who have elements, you don't have to, I don't think you have to pull it out, because there's going to be a strip down on the bottom where you could drag and drop it once you open it. And that's the cool thing about elements that I don't think Photoshop has. All right, so just a few more. I apologize for my voice. I have allergies and it's going in and out. Okay, drag it. All right, so I want that right there. All right, so now I want to resize, but I want to resize everything. Again, you could do it individually, and I'll show you that in just a minute. What I'm going to do is, let's rename these. What was this? Layer 1 was the lamp. And then 2 is candle tray. All right, so how to resize all of the elements at one time. So this is why I open them all at once, is because I want them to be proportionally the same size when I make them smaller. Otherwise, if you do it individually, you're going to have to spend your whole time doing each item. You can if you want it bigger than the other, but I usually do one set the same, you know, when I resize it, because they're all pretty much proportion already when you get the file to each other. So that's why I do it all together. So how you do that is you click on the top layer, hold your shift key, and then click to the last layer you want to select. So I'm selecting all of these layers. So click on the top, hold your shift key down, and click on the last layer you want to include in the selection. And you see it's grayed out. So then I use Command T to resize, and then you get the anchor points. You see that? Okay, and if you don't want to use the keyboard shortcuts, just go to Edit, and then here, Free Transform. All right, so then what you do is, once you do that, you drag this to the size you want it. So let's just make it a little bit bigger. All right, double click. Okay, so now all of them is still selected. As you can see, you could click on one of these layers, or you could click outside right here to deselect it, or you could go to select and hit deselect layers, and it's just all the layers are deselected. So now you can move one by one. All right, so I want to move the rug. Let me move the couch a little bit further up. Let's move that up. So I'm clicking on the lamp and the side table, just moving that here. Can even move it out a little. And then what I'm going to do is I just think that the rug is too big. So I selected the rug layer. You could either select it here or remember on the actual image. I'm going to do Command T. You could go to Edit and do Free Transform. And then you just take the anchor points on the side or on each corner and then select it, and then you double click it once you're done. So let's move the coffee table a little bit up along with this. Okay, so that's okay. There's one more thing I wanted to add that I forgot because I'm going to do a couple bonuses to the scene. Let's see, picture frame. All right, let's do this. Okay, so make sure when you take the picture frame, because you might click it here and try to drag it here and there's nothing that comes up, it's because in the middle part is cut out, which is the transparent part. And so when you click that and drag it, nothing's going to happen because there's nothing here in this middle. It's empty. So you want to make sure you click on the frame, the actual frame, or the line to drag it into your canvas or your layout. See? Now, I'm going to hit, for me the frame doesn't, it doesn't matter where I put the frame as far as the layer order because it's in the background. So it doesn't matter right now. It could be on the top layer or the bottom layer, as long as nothing is going to be in front or in back of it. Let's see, I want to put 2 more frames. So you could either go back to, so mine is selected still here. You could go back there and drag it again. Or here's a way, another way or technique you could do it is you take this, the frame already, and you're going to drag it to this one. This is a create a new layer. So I'm going to take this frame, center frame, create a new layer, and you see there's a copy that's made. So then you click on here and there you go. And then let's rename this so we don't get confused. Right frame. And then I want to once again make another one on the left side. So you could choose either one of these to make a copy. But I'm going to go ahead and do the center and do left frame. And then I'm going to go to the center one and pull it out from the center. And let's see, that's just too far. Okay, so that's how you add the frame. Now let's add in Anya and Ian. So it's Anya. Drag her out and then drag her to the couch. So remember, I was on the frame, and the layer that you add will be whatever on top of whatever frame layer was selected. My right frame was selected, therefore Anya went above the frame but not in front of the couch. So let's rename her. And then let's drag her all the way to the top above the couch. So I know I said couch and it says candle tray. I just went ahead and brought her to the front. I'm going to transform her, resize her basically, and let's make her a little smaller. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. All right, so as long as, so again, when I said I wanted her in front of the couch, she is in front of the couch because she's in a layer above the couch, any layer above the couch. However, if I made her any bigger, she would be like this, and she would be blocking that. So then what does that mean? That means you would want her to be underneath the layer of the coffee table and the candle tray. So I'm going to take her here on the right side, whoops, and drag her just to be in front of the couch. You see that? So you could do it that way too. But since she's a little bit smaller, it didn't matter. But it does matter because there's a flower. And if she was on top of the candle tray, which is where the flower is, then she would be covering it. But if you put her here, the flower's in front of her, therefore the flower has to be in a layer that's above her. So I hope that makes sense. I want her just a little bit more smaller so you could see the frame, because I'm adding a bonus part for you guys. Okay, we want to add in Ian. So Ian. All right, so let's take him, drag him here. And he was above Anya, therefore he's in the right spot as far as layer goes. And let's make him, I don't want him to be too small because he's the guy. All right, so there you have it. If you want to stop here, then go ahead, stop here, print, and then color. There's one thing that's bothering me is it's not centered for me. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and select my top layer, go all the way down to my last element layer, which is the plant, and I select it, hold down the shift key, hold it the entire time, press plant, and you selected every single one of these images. Now I'm going to make them in the middle because it just seemed really off to me, right? So how to deselect? Press anywhere in the layout or select deselect, okay? Just going to move that there. All right, so the bonus thing I wanted to add will be, I want to add some pictures into the picture frame. So I'm going to open, look through your files, what you want to add. I want to add in Anya Valentine, which is a couple. Open. Okay, so you see how this image is all checkered? That means it's a transparent background. You can't select like no lines because nothing's going to go through. Remember that. So you want to select something that has a line to pull it through. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Command T or edit, transform, and just resize this. I want it smaller. Maybe a little bit more smaller. Okay, now we have to enlarge this. So whenever you click on something that's transparent, make sure to click on the line. All right, so that's what I want to do. I want to take, I'm going to name this Anya. I don't know what this is called, Sweetheart. I want to make sure this image is underneath the center frame, not above it. Anywhere below it's fine, but I like to group them where what they need to be close to, just so that when I'm searching for it, especially when I don't name my layers, I know where it is. But since I've named it, you pretty much will know where it is on your layer palette. We forgot to do this one. I believe that's Ian. All right, so there you go. And then a couple more. Let's do better Ian. And then you want to drag him, drag him, okay. Command T or edit, free transform. This has to be really small. There you go. Now you notice right there, he is above Ian, because Ian was the last layer I touched so it put him above my images. So he's above the Anya image. Okay, this is how you make your layer invisible, to either see how it looks without it or to see, what you need to manipulate. So Batter Ian is on top of Anya. We want him to be below Anya. So what do? Well, first of all, rename this. And then you want to drag him to the right frame. There you go. Let's do that again. Watch this when I drag him under the right frame, and there you go. Okay, he might be a little too big compared to this picture. Let's just make him a little bit smaller. Okay, double click, and there you go. One more image, which would be an Anya. Let's do ballerina Anya. Okay, say there, grab her, put her there. Command T to transform her again. So it would be edit, edit, transform. Okay, see how she's above the frame? It's because the last layer I touched was Batter Ian, and that was underneath the right frame, and we are working with the left frame. So this is Bell. Alright, so I'm going to drag her to the left, underneath the left frame, which is right here. And there you go. I want to make her a little bit more smaller, just like this one. Is that too small? Let's see. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so you're not going to have this white background, or see how these two look different? It's going to all print under a white background, so this is fine. All right, and I will show you the end results once I print it, but these three were the bonus, because I know a lot of people are going to ask, how did I do that? But yeah, that's how I build a scene in Photoshop. Again, it's pretty similar in Elements. If you are trying to decide which one you want between the two, I would start off with Elements. It's a lot cheaper. Adobe Photoshop is a subscription base, so it's a monthly payment. I believe it's $50-something a month. Well, you know what? Let me just take that back. I have the whole photo Adobe suite, so it's everything. So that's why I pay a little bit more. I believe Photoshop might be a little less. I'm not quite sure. I will put all the information in the description box down below. I believe Elements is still one of those you could just buy the software, either digitally download it, or you could buy the software, if they still do this, at like Costco or any office place, even maybe Target. I'm not 100% sure. I know for sure Costco used to sell it. But yeah, if you want just a simple photo editing software that has all the bells and whistles that you don't have to do yourself, there's all these presets that you could press and it'll give you filters, then Photoshop Elements is the way to go, because again, it's cheaper, faster, and quicker, and easier to use. Photo intense type software, and it takes a lot longer to achieve a certain look that you could get quicker in Elements. However, the difference between that is there's more things you can do in Photoshop that you can do than what you can do in Elements. So if you're just wanting to do something like this, edit some of your photos to have some filters or erase people, then Elements would probably be the best and economical way to go. So I hope that helps you guys. If you don't want to invest in the money in either one of these software, Amy Young did a tutorial on how she used Word to create her scenes, and that is in our YouTube channel, which I will link also in the description box down below. Maybe I'll try and put a card up on the top right hand if I can. And then I believe there's another one that you can use in Procreate. Oh, I'm sorry, on iPad. Forgot the name of it, but I think her name is Antonia, or Taffleberry on YouTube. She did one, which I will also include in the description box, and Joni did one on our blog, but it's a typed tutorial on how she added the mask onto Anya. So that I will also link down in the description box. So yeah, there's so many different softwares and ways you can build a scene. For me, this is the easiest way. I have more control. Word would be the cheapest way because most people have Word on their computer. But I find that I like to have more control and able to manipulate my images and whatnot a lot better. I have never tried the Word version, so maybe it is easy, but if you want to just do a simple layout using the cheapest way and the quickest way, it would be Word. The next would be Elements, and then to go more in depth on more manipulation in your scene or more detail, then Photoshop would be the next step. So, all right, I hope this wasn't too confusing, and I hope I was able to show you a few tricks and how to use Photoshop to build your scene. So again, leave a question down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, have a great week everyone, and I will see you in the next video.